welcome to chapter 22, and today it's all about demolition. So the bathroom that I walked you through in, oh boy, chapter 5, 6 maybe, is now going to be destroyed, and we're going to take it right down to the bare bones, and then we're going to deal with any problems that have arisen over the last 40 years, and then we are going to build it back up. So if you like demolition, this should be your issue. One thing I'd like to talk about though, before I take you out of my nice, comfortable, well-lit shop and head into the dark and dingy bathroom, is today I was watching some YouTube at dinner and at supper, and was watching some woodworking channels, and the presenters on those channels presented information in such a way that it was gospel. That, you know, it was that way to do it, and the one, I knew there were a few experts that had done extensive work on that issue and had somewhat different conclusions than that person had. But you know, there's always room for debate in this, but the one thing that I want to do on this channel is not come across as being that person. I guess my background has taught me that, well, first of all, I am a journeyman carpenter, and secondly, I spent 32 years in the middle and high school world teaching shop. So I am an accredited shop teacher as well. Now that doesn't buy you a lot. What buys you a lot is experience. So at the beginning of my career, I thought I knew it all. I was convinced. And then I broadened my horizons, and I realized I hadn't even nicked the surface. So maybe that's what's going to happen with these presenters as well. They are quite a bit younger, and you need to present an image on YouTube to have people believe you and see that what you're doing is correct. I get it, but my goal is not to be that. There are some things that I will not compromise on easily that are near and dear to me. However, I've realized working with students that there are probably 100 ways of doing any one thing, and 98 of them will probably be okay. So if you disagree with that, gee, put something in the comments below. I don't know. I just think that when you create an air of elitism, that you drive people away from the craft, whether it's hobby, whether it's trying to make a living, and all those things. So I think in the end you do a disservice, and I'm not gonna publicly name anybody. Like, that's not it. I'm not super critical of it, but I just realized as I watched them, I did not want to be a presenter that dealt in those terms. So yeah, I'm going to make some mistakes on my channel, especially as I get started. And like I said, the more you get into woodworking, the less you realize you know. Because you start comparing yourself to the elites. I've turned a lot. But who do I compare myself to? A Mike Hosselak. And I am way down here compared to him. So anyway, with that in mind, I'm going to quit talking at you, and we're going to head in the house where it's dark and dingy, and I'm going to pick up a sledgehammer for part of it, and I am going to beat the stuffing out of my bathroom. So we'll see you inside in a bit, and I suspect I'll be voicing over a lot of it, because a lot of it there's really not much that I could say over the noise. So we'll see how things work out, and we'll show you what is involved with demolition of a bathroom. Okay, we'll see you inside. Oh yeah, you can see that don't have a lot of light in there. We're just using the bathroom fixture in this early part. Here I am taking over the toilet cabinet out, basically held on by about 4 screws and a bunch of silicone, and revealing that classy wallpaper behind it. So yeah, it's like I say, this 40 years old, this bathroom, and I'm not sure what stage the wallpaper was. But next I moved on to taking our recessed medicine cabinet out, and we're going to keep that design. We're just going to make it a lot bigger, and I'm going to build it. Next was the drywall, and I wasn't concerned about getting it out in huge chunks, because there isn't a lot to take out. The other thing, a guy has to be careful of, I didn't want to redo the bedroom drywall either. So, if you get the sledge and start banging around on things, you can damage the drywall in the other rooms. So I didn't want to do that, so I just kind of picked away at it. And that actually went fairly well. So then I just kind of kept stripping things away there. Had already done the drywall and the tub surround. That's why you can see the vapor barrier exposed there. Back in 1984, acoustical sealant was relatively new, and you can see I used a lot of it. I am a firm believer. And then we went on to remove the bathroom vanity, and the countertop. This is original countertop. I built this myself in 1984, and probably 1985 by then, because I just worked on this house when I had time, because I worked another job. And the bathroom vanity was built in place. We didn't have a lot of money to throw around in those days, so I took and cut corners wherever I could. And I figured the bathroom walls were already there. Why don't I just use that for the back of the vanity and for the left side? So that's what I did. So it comes out kind of strangely. It was really, really well nailed to the floor, which here I'm trying to pry that off. Yeah, it just, you just tear things out. I cut water lines with the Sawzall because I didn't want to bother with taking them out. We're replacing them anyway, so there's no point in saving them. Here, just wondering what in the world's going on. There must be another nail somewhere, and sure enough, there was. And I just managed to get it out, and the rest of the house, which you can't see right now, is a real mess because we just kind of moved things into the dining room, which is interesting. And another thing that's kind of left over from my old construction days is you always pull all the nails as you go, because the last thing you want to do is have you or somebody else that's walking around get hurt from stepping on a nail. So that's what I was doing there, and maybe some of that 2x6 will get reused yet because it was in nice shape. But yeah, it's starting to look fairly clean there. And basically, oh yeah, here we're to the tub. Boy, this tub was a lot tougher than I thought it should be. I had my view that this was a weak tub, that it would flex and break, and so I was in with the Sawzall. I made that cut. I was going to saw it in half and rip it out, and that just didn't work. I cut a little bit of content out of here because it was kind of embarrassing. At one point an axe was involved, so I don't think I'm going to explain any more than that. And here we are back to the drywall. Again, trying to take minimal pieces. What I did do is I did score the drywall between the ceiling and the walls, because the ceiling is going to stay in place. Well, that was quite an experience. Got everything ripped out of here as far as the walls go. The ceiling is going to stay. That's going to get scraped. And right now I'm in the process of removing the nails and screws that are left over from me just ripping the drywall out of here. So yeah, it's pretty easy. Nothing worse than having a screw or nail that you forgot when you're putting fresh. In this case, it'll be tile back. There's no drywall. Okay, well, I made a little extra cut here. This little triangle here shouldn't have cut out. I was cutting the drain of the tub out of it. I got a little carried away, but I think I'm going to have to open that up anyway, because the drain, we're going to put a 2-foot long drain centered in here, I hope. And there's another, well, we'll figure that out. I'll have to do some sculpting. Anyway, what amazed me is the quality of everything underneath. Like, I thought for sure we would have mold issues, all kinds of stuff. This bathroom was largely unchanged, other than the toilet. I think we changed the toilet maybe twice, but for 40 years exactly. So I would have started building this house in April of 1984. So yeah, we're April of 2024, so that's 40 years. And everything just hung on well. Yeah, it was dated, it was out of style, but for the most part, everything worked well. So I put a lot of effort into vapor barrier at the time. Now this is older 6 mil vapor barrier, but it's in good shape yet. I'm gonna have to take the support for the tub, and maybe, see, I would have been 40 years ago, exactly 40 years ago, I was 25 years old. So yeah, I've learned a lot since then. There's some things I could have done better in here, that's for sure. But for the most part though, everything held up really well. So I am quite happy. Just cut supply lines off, took the Sawzall to things, and the drain's gonna change, traps are gonna change. There's probably a day of plumbing in here. Electrical, not a whole lot's going to change. This stud space is vent for the air exchange that we have downstairs, and I think I'm going to change that. I don't know, we'll see. I might take some duct material, some, I think 26 gauge or whatever, and cover that whole joist with that. The other thing I thought of is with my 1/2-inch tile backer, if I put 1/2-inch tile backer here and 1/2-inch gyprock, or sorry, 1/2-inch tile backer and 1/4-inch tile, I'm gonna have to make a custom jamb for that door, and I don't want to do that. So I think next time I'm in the city, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of 1/4-inch tile backer and just do that wall in 1/4-inch, and I'll have a little bit more 1/2-inch left over, but that's, sometimes you think of things when you get into it, so I obviously didn't do all the planning I should have. This medicine cabinet area is going to change quite radically. It's going to be a fair amount bigger, and that's something I need to work on yet. But we can't go too far because the main stack is here, so we're not going to change that. But yeah, was kind of happy with today. I wanted to get the drywall out. The lighting in here is terrible, as you can see with the video. So I might have to get some temporary lights. And I'm not sure, either tomorrow or Wednesday, that popcorn ceiling's coming off. And Ron, my next door neighbor, has done his whole house and tells me that a little bit of moisture in there makes a big difference. So I think we're going to do that, and we'll scrape it all, and then we're going to fix all the little inconsistencies and paint it a very, very shiny white. I'm sure it'll be white. Okay, and that is my progress basically for the first day. So other than we have a big mess outside because I didn't plan things in advance, and I can't hook my trailer up to my truck because I have all the tile backer on the back of my truck. So, and the throne, we're going to leave in here as long as we can. That way we don't have to run downstairs all the time. So I think what'll happen actually is maybe tomorrow I'm going to start working on the floor and pulling the K3 or the particle board subfloor off, which is always a fun job. And I'll remove the toilet for that. And then I suspect I'll reinstall it. So yeah, a little bit of work here, but it's coming nicely. Okay, we'll get back to you later. And here I am, had a pump bottle full of water and just sprayed a little bit on the ceiling, and then took a 12-inch drywall knife and scraped the popcorn or styrofoam off, and it worked really, really well. Thanks, Ron, for that tip. That worked great. This took me a matter of a few minutes to do, and I realized that looking at it at the end of the video here, just assessing, I missed a few places. It took kind of half of the finish off, so I'll just go back and touch those up before I go over the ceiling. But the plan for the ceiling is I am going to, there's 1 or 2 exposed screws. I'll put those in properly and fill those, and then just double check everything, make it smooth, and get it ready for paint. Okay, and now we're working on the floor, removing the particle board subfloor or K3 from the floor. And basically what I do there is I'm just setting the saw blade on my circular saw to the correct depth. I don't want to score into the sheeting below it. And cutting a grid. Now this grid is about 6-inch squares, which makes this much easier to pull out. It's just way easier. I think I got that tip from a YouTube video a while ago, and it works awesome. The linoleum that you're seeing being cut up is original to the house. So this goes back a long time. And it's amazing how tough this flooring was. Like, it's just a regular vinyl flooring. And it's hung on extremely well. I think one of the keys to success here was that over the years we haven't had any serious toilet leak or failure or any plumbing issues, which water and this particle board just don't get along really well. So that was good. Now the particle board around the toilet there was quite black and well, not black so much, but it was thick. Like, you could tell it had some moisture on it, but it wasn't really that bad. So anyway, this one of the reasons also that this particle board is really hard to get off is that if you put it on correctly or install it correctly, it's supposed to be nailed in every, about 4 to 6 inch squares. So there are a lot of nails in that floor. Now, when I was in construction, we had a stapler that we used to put this stuff down, but I didn't have that when I built this place. So I was on my knees for a couple of days, pounding in, I believe they were 1.25-inch ring nails. So that's another reason this doesn't come off that easy, is because the ring nails tend to hold fairly well. But when you cut it into small strips like that, and I was just taking the nails out as I went, because the last thing you want to do is kneel on one of those things. So I just kept going, and yeah, this is sped up a bit, but this really didn't take terribly long to do. So this part again went really seamlessly. The other issue surrounding this is that this bathroom is not very big. I think really, in essence, I probably removed less than a 4x8 sheet of this stuff from this room. So not a huge area. Now, if I would have been doing the rest of the house or a whole living room or whatever, That's a little different because that is a lot to cover, but here, not so bad. So it all worked out fairly well. I was really happy with the progress here. And yeah, I couldn't have been happier with this. It came out really well. All right, and here is more or less the finished product of our demolition. The ceiling worked out really well. I've got a little bit of stuff that I missed on it. I'll go back and clean that up yet before I drywall or tape it and paint it. That 2x6 plumbing wall that we're looking at now is in excellent shape. There was never any water in that wall between like the tub and the toilet, where often those problems come into play. The medicine cabinet area, which is just up above, I've roughly framed the new opening size. I have to, those 2x6s are fresh, so they're not dried out, so they're a little wider than the 2x6 in the wall. So I'm going to rip them down and frame that in today yet. Couldn't get away without leaving my trademark on the wall there, so I ended up putting a new vapor barrier over that wall, and I didn't pull off the old one. I just cut slits in it, so that's all good. But the studs are in great shape. The floor is in excellent shape. I am going to replace part of it, but the bones of this structure are really, really good. So that's a good base to work from, and we'll put waterproof materials over everything. Well, there you have it. The room is stripped down to the bones, except for the toilet and the door, just to block a little bit of dust and make it a little more convenient for us as we go through this. Behind the scenes, over the last probably about 3 weeks, all the materials are either purchased or ordered. So the material side of things, I'm sure I will have forgotten a few little things, but that's kind of been done. Everything related to this build will be replaced. Anything like the plumbing, you name it, if it goes into that room, it's getting replaced. I'm even going to do a little bit of the floor underneath the toilet. The damage is really minor, and I'm sure with thin set and cement board, it would last for years, but I'm going to do it. We have the material for it. I'll take the toilet off, cut that section out, and put in new subfloor. Yeah, yesterday was an eye-opener. We were in Saskatoon, and yeah, this project is going to cost a bit. Nothing is cheap these days. In my opinion, it's going to be, I think, expensive, but at least we're not paying labor, I guess, which helps. When Sheila and I do a project like this on our property, and we've done several, we have a little system that seems to work really well. My wife's background is in accounting and finance, so I stay far away from that side of this. She handles the money part of this, which I am extremely grateful for. My expertise comes in with more the technical and the construction side of things, and the design of things. There we banter back and forth and talk about things, and and in the end, I think, come up with some cool stuff. So that's how we've managed to make things work. And as I've already stated, we are replacing everything in that bathroom. So the goal is, I would really like this bathroom to last another 40 years, and that's what I'm planning for. Do we have that much time here? Probably not. But I don't want to get into the situation where in 10 or 15 years from now, and if we're fortunately, comfortably living here yet, that then I have to tear everything apart and do a major renovation. And then I'll say, well, does it pay? And then maybe we look for alternative housing. And with the elderly in this country are starting to, well, maybe they've been treated that way all along. I'm wanting to make sure that we have a place that we can stay in as long as we want to. A little lighter note, talking to a friend of mine about a month ago, and I don't see him all that often, but and he's in his 90s, and he says, yeah, he says, Glenn, he says, we're at the frog stage of life, and I wasn't sure I heard him right, and you know, and I kind of looked at him kind of puzzled. He says, yep, he says, we're at the frog stage. He says, we can croak at any second. So I guess that's true, but I think my view is if you're retiring, and I'm just really very early into it, those of you that are further along have way more experience that I'm sure could impart lots of knowledge on me, and maybe looking at what I'm talking about today as kind of, oh, that's silly, those young people. But basically, I think a person should plan to be around a long time. Make those plans. Don't stop planning. Don't stop looking to the future and being excited about things. I don't know, and I think the other thing, if you're gonna get my 2 cents worth on retirement, is stay busy. I found that I've been so busy with things, I haven't even thought about my old job. And that's been great. So opportunities come, as one other friend pointed out, and if you're looking for things to do, there will be something that'll come up. So stay busy, and who knows, you know, you could like start a YouTube channel. Apparently they're tons of fun to start. So yeah, stay busy, stay active. That would be my advice to you. And as far as a YouTube channel goes, well, yeah, we're struggling along here. We kind of stalled at about 95 subscribers, so if you're watching this and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do that. That would make me feel a little bit better. But please like and subscribe, and we'll do the 100 subscriber giveaway when we get there, and then we'll set a new goal and away we go. So yeah, like and subscribe, and have an awesome weekend, everyone.